Okay, good morning. I hope I'm audible. Please confirm if I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, my name is Sevia Aluku, and I'd like to welcome you to today's event. And also, we are recording the event so that you are able to follow up later in case you don't get the concepts clearly. Um, I like just to go clearly based on the communication that we made via various channels. The event involves the launch of the virtual internship program, basically that deals with data science. And the key focus here is that we are trying to um, give our graduates, our students, and whoever who is interested in this discipline an opportunity to be able to learn more. And therefore, I won't be taking so much time on our side because on my side rather, but we have our team that is going to demonstrate what we will be expecting from those that will be joining the program. And also, one thing that how the program will be running is that we will be having diverse industries. During the application process, you will be required just to select one industry that you are interested in. And therefore, all those who will be in one industry will be placed in a similar cohort, and the projects that you will be doing as a team, or you will be collaborating as a team. And other details, of course, will be shared, but currently, uh, the priority, it will be on a rolling basis, like after every 2 months, we will be having various cohorts. And you will be given an opportunity. If you miss in the first application, still you'll get the opportunity in the next to be able to part of the virtual internship. And basically, we are requesting that during that process you cooperate with our team. And basically on Fridays is when we will be having most of the review on the progress that has been made and so on. So the documentation, more documentation will always be shared with those that will qualify for the first batch and so on. I don't want to take so much time um, on this section, but basically what we want is that we have our team that have come up with a sample product, like, because at the end of it, for instance, those who have been students, you have finished your training and you have attained your EABEX certification. You might be interested to gain more experience so that you are able to know how you are going to further apply the concepts and knowledge in diverse industries that you are working in. And we have come up with just a sample product for the purpose of um, today's session to demonstrate on how in real situations how the interactions happen between various data science, machine learning concepts, and other disciplines such as the software engineering, how the integration happens. And therefore, without taking so much time, I like to introduce my colleague Tony and Ernest, who are going to lead us in that session. Then after that, we will be having questions and answers. And then we will guide you on the program launch and application opening. Tony, if you're in a position to hear me, if you're in a position to, sorry, to share your screen, you
Yes,
can
I can hear
just
you.
come in.
Something to note, Yvonne, I suppose Yvonne is the one who's supposed to let people into the meeting. Yvonne, please let Ernest in. Ernest is stuck, is in the waiting room. You can confirm that once you do so.
Hello, Tony. I cannot see him. Let me just give him a call to confirm.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, Tony. I think Ernest was using a different link for the company,
Okay.
but he's joining shortly.
Okay. Okay. That's okay.
I think Ernest has joined.
Okay. That's okay. Thank you, Xavier. My name is Tony. Tony Nyamau. I'll be the lead for the virtual internship for AfriCDSA. I will be the two of us, that is me, Tony, and my colleague Ernest. He will introduce himself later on. And like Xavier has introduced, is a program that we have introduced to nurture our talent, of course, in the field of data science, machine learning, to do with APIs, and also for the case of data analysts. Of course, we are going to go all round in all the industries. As you will be applying, please apply according to the industry that you're interested in, such that we can have the different industries being in the groups of different for easier communication and also for easier follow-ups on the task that will be assigning and working together moving forward. So we did come up with a sample model to do with machine learning, random forest regressor. It's about a loan scoring model. I'm not going to display the kind of data set, just like as a startup for a disclaimer, because we used real world data sets and it contains a lot of confidential data set in that model. So the part of the data set but I'll skip it. But I do have the backend. That's to do with the APIs with my colleague Ernest. But I'll be taking you through the model itself before it got to be configured in the API. So I'm going to share my screen. Just a minute.
Hello, Tony. We can't hear you. I don't know if you are speaking on mute.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Okay, so even if I can start, so it's a machine learning loan scoring model using the random forest regressor. And just for our introduction, is that nowadays financial institutions face a lot daunting task in accurately assessing loan amounts amidst rising default rates. Balancing borrower needs with asset protection requires a closer look at the key eligibility variables, and institutions try to employ sophisticated scoring models considering aspects like gender, the loan details, repayment history, and demographic factors. Sometimes you might interact with a demographic factor whereby, as I was doing my research, whereby you are even required to provide whether you're married or not, your marital status, and also you're even required to provide a bank statement. Now it depends. It depends at that point. But in this case, we didn't have such kind of a scenario. We only focused on the gender, the loan details, of which the loan details entailed the amount of loan, the repayment history, that is from the past experience. We tried to group in terms of gender and age, which cluster of the different types tried to behave in a positive direction business-wise as to the ones that comply with the financial institution. That is, they try to make earlier payments, they try to comply by the T&Cs. And also, this multifaceted approach aims to construct a robust creditworthiness framework, and the integration of diverse variables empowers institutions to make informed, personalized lending decisions, transcending traditional methods. And as the financial landscape evolves, the quest for balanced risk management and customer satisfaction regime persists with comprehensive scoring models, offering promising solutions for a resilient and adaptive financial ecosystem. So that will be all about for the loan scoring model. Now, an overview of the model itself is that it covers both the admissions model and the affordability model. By the admissions model, I mean they largely focus on the assessing the creditworthiness of the loan applicant, of his or her willingness to pay back. His or her willingness to pay back. Yes.
Kindly
Yes,
just
sir.
put the full presentation so that you are able to clearly view.
Okay. It's right here.
Okay, that's
Is
fine.
that okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So the admissions part of it, because it was subdivided into two parts, and the admissions part of it largely focused on the assessing the credit worthiness of a loan applicant, of his or her willingness to pay back, because we noticed that inside the data set, there was a column or a data field that involved the amount of days the loan applicant took to repay back. Of course, looking it from the business perspective of it, it's on the negative side. It's not helping the institution as much as the interest is keeping on increasing and they're getting more, as much as the goals of the institution of whereby for this kind of data set, the number of days that you had to take to pay back the loan was 30 days, and some even took even up to 120 days, that is 4 months. So we focused on that. And also for the affordability model, it focused on the total affordable amount to offer a loan applicant. By this, I mean, now from historical data, the model is able to determine if you are a defaulter or not. That is a defaulter by exceeding the 30 days, and by not being a defaulter, it's able to offer you a high score, and the high score is relatively proportionate to the amount it's willing to offer you. For example, if you wanted to loan, let's say 30,000, and maybe your score is a bit fair, because our score was from 1 to 10, that is the eligibility score was from 1 to 10, and you're a bit above average. Of course, you defaulted at some point and maybe repaid your loan after, let's say, 45 days, but at least your score is kind of worth to be offered, let's say 20,000. As much as they can't offer you the limit of 30, the model can offer you 20,000. That's what will be under the affordability model. And by leveraging our models and solutions, financial institutions can easily assess and evaluate the risk and credit worthiness of the loan, like I've explained, evaluate thousands of applications quickly and impartially, and make data-driven decisions on the best loan offering or amounts, while driving down default rates and generating significant revenue. Okay, so now, of course, data set will be vital for all our projects. And in this case, the kind of data set we dealt with was into three. That is the demographic, the demographic type, the loan application detail, and the loan application detail for loan repayment, of course. So for the demographic, under that data set, it has the demographic part of it. That was for the customer ID, the age, gender. Sometimes you can encounter such as marital status, occupation, and maybe geographical location. The loan application details, that is, of course, the loan ID, customer ID, loan amount, disbursement date, loan tenure, that is the amount of days you will be regarded if it exists as a default, and also the interest rate, which was calculated as a percentage. And for the loan application details, the loan repayment, we have the repayment ID, the loan ID, the due date, repayment date, and the loan amount and the payment amount, that is in total with the interest amount. Model flow. Now, how does this model behave in the backend once a user or a consumer tries to apply for a loan? Now, first of all, it starts with their customer application, whereby you'll be making an application either through a web portal or an application. That is from the user interface of the user. Then it will get relevant data, like I've said, the data set right here, whereby it can collect, whereby it can collect demographic data of a person, can collect loan application details and the loan application details for the loan repayment. And now, as I've explained down there, it's for the demographic, the data statement. That's whereby sometimes you can have some institutions can be asking for your M-Pesa statement and all, even your bank statement and your credit bureau, whereby if you're enlisted in CRB or not in the case of Kenya. So the credit scoring model, it will make the main decision engine deployed as an API on the cloud-based infrastructure. That is, it will be under the random forest regressor. Now, upon it getting you a score, you can see my credit score was designed to be in the range of 1 to 10. So the eligibility of the score, e.g. 10,000, can be if you scored, let's say, an average or not, as compared to what you are applying for. So it's relatively compared to what you are applying for and from your historical credit score. So the process of building the credit scoring model, we started with the data collection in the format desired. In this case, we collected it as an Excel. We did some EDA to come up with some of the insights, try to compare, try to see how the data set behaves. Even the data cleaning was done under that point. The data points were passed into several supervised machine learning algorithms to understand the unique patterns. And also an appropriate ML algorithm is selected at this case, considering applicability to the nature of data as well as the best performance metrics. And we chose to move forward to the ML, where it's packaged and deployed as an API on-prem or on a cloud infrastructure, depending on the client's preference, of course, because you'll be building real-world projects. And the new data points are passed into the deployed ML model for predictions, of course. This is in the case of whereby now a new data point whereby you'll be coming up with, in the case of whereby you have to do any of the label encoding, of course, now you have to come up with an algorithm to do for your label encoding in your data set. Then the process flow after the model deployment will come from the potential customer side, whereby the API will call to the credit scoring model using transactional data. That is the post method in the first API. We use the first API in this case. Then a credit scoring model, whereby the API response from the credit score returned and the decision to approve or decline a loan request is made. And sometimes, if the loan request if the loan request and the scoring model are not relatively that the client can be offered, it can be returned as 0, and a client cannot be, or the consumer of the product cannot be eligible for a loan. Now, some of the insights as we were trying to come up with a model, we tried to do some of the EDA. In this case, we used the Power BI tool, that is for data visualization. And as you can see, we were comparing between the status, and the status in this case was under the credit bureau, whereby whether it was closed, active, overdue, closed, defaulted, a CRB listing, overdue, defaulted, closed, and CRB listed, closed. And as you can see from the bar graph, the males tend to, from the dataset, the males are the ones who are tended to apply for more loan than the females. And you can see the statistics, they flow relatively. As you can see, it affects across when the males were higher, of course, even the active, the overdue, the defaulted, the CRB listings, of course, they were higher because the system was getting more traffic from the male under the gender type. Now, the loan scoring model may demonstrate that is from the higher accuracy for males due to statistical patterns indicating that males both borrow more frequently and default more often. By incorporating gender as a variable, the model acknowledges these trends, allowing for a more nuanced risk assessment. Consequently, the model might result in denying higher loans amount to males with relative lower scores, as it accounts for the increased likelihood of defaults among in this demographic. So as you can see, the males were higher at defaulting, and also they were higher at asking for the loans from the institution. And this approach aims to align loan disbursements with observed borrowing and repayment behaviors, enhancing the overall predictive accuracy for the scoring model. So we came up with the interest amount by status, and also you can see the males dominated. So as I've explained, the model will tend to lie more on the males, of course, of the amount of loan they can apply for. That is the limit. Also, for the approval or denial. So this was our model. Our model, as you can see, it scored a 99%. And you can see we had some of the sorry. Yes. Someone wants to ask a question. Okay, so you can see our status was the one that was determining which was the dependent variable, and inside the independent variable that's under the X, we're able to drop the national ID, days since issues, the status, the gender. I will drop gender at this point because we had already encoded our data earlier. So to avoid the conflict in our data set, we did drop it earlier. Yes, someone has a question.
Okay, sorry, I think Kipto is saying that he's not able to see the slides.
Okay. I don't know. Anyone else who is not able to see the slides? Xavier?
Okay, from my end, I can see basically it might be an internet issue.
Okay.
From there, but I can see from my end.
Tony, maybe just to add, you can try and reshare your screen sharing, and then maybe it will update on their side.
Okay. I hope now we can see.
I can see from my end.
Okay. So, like I've said, some of the independent variables in our X were dropped, and we focused the status encoded because this was a column we came up with after, that is under the EDA, whereby we came up with our status encoded, and while we were doing everything, even under the data cleaning. Our model was tested and split under the 80 and the 20% rule, and our random state was at 42, and estimators being at 100. We fitted our model, and of course, we tried to come up with an R2 score, and it passed at a 99%, and we chose to take it. Okay, so this is the life cycle of it once it's deployed. So first of all, it starts with the model evaluation, whereby after the evaluation, now the integration and monitoring comes into place. And also you keep on monitoring the accuracy as more data is coming into place. And the model is trained, whereby after every 1 month, it's advisable of the deployment, seeing the significant improvement in loan repayment additional with that data, with the pass back into the model for a better decision making. And also you can see the default rate and try to see whether the model is able to determine the non-default rate from the historical data that is provided. So this is under the integration and the monitoring, and also trying to see how the life cycle of the model is behaving, and for any necessary updates or configuration that can be taken into place. And finally, now the recommendations, they were split into two, whereby we have the machine learning modeling of it and the business modeling of it. The recommendation under the machine learning modeling bit of it is that the ML model to be built, excluding some data feeds like the national ID, the days. That's some of the things that are, because we dealt with the confidential data set, we had to drop them. And also we considered getting a wide data set every time intending for loan institutions such as banks, and that it will aid for better decision making and effective predictions from the ML model as it will be trained under a real world data set. Under the business modeling of it, considering gender in loan scoring acknowledges borrowing patterns, the model may limit loan amounts for male with higher default risk and improving predictive accuracy. So thank you. So I will pass on to Ernest. Ernest, the one who will be taking us through how the backend was able to determine. Yes, someone has a question, Xavier.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony. So as Ernest is coming up, basically today's presentation, whatever Tony and Ernest will be presenting, is what we will be expecting for those applying and joining the virtual internship. So because that is what we are expecting, an end-to-end product. So perhaps Ernest, you can come, then we move to the next session on question and answers about the program, not the model, because on the models and so on, they'll be asked during the virtual internship session.
Okay, thank you, Xavier. Let me share my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so I will take you through how the model is being deployed on the API part. So first of all, when you're, let me just share this. So when you're in the Jupyter part, when you're making the model, when you complete the model, you need to save it into a file. That file is saved in a format called Pickle. In the Jupyter part, you use a library called Pickle. It's this right here that you convert it, you convert your machine learning model into that file. So that file, as you can see, it's over here. Model, I saved it under the name model random pickle. So once you have saved the model from the Jupyter side, you then import it into the API part. So here I have imported the file. You can see I'm opening the file here. Then once you import the file, you can give it the features that are needed into the model. So you can see here the features that we used in training this model. We have the loan amount, interest amount, total amount paid, any amount pending, days in arrears. Let's say, for example, when Tony had said we were using a data set that was going for 30 days for the loan. Any number of days after that, it becomes days in arrears. Then we have the age and we have the gender encoded. So the gender encoded, we made it so that the male is set to 1 and the female is set to 0. So once you have all the data from the model part and you also have the input, we then go ahead with predicting the model, predicting the output using the model. So once the model runs, you see we get an output of loan amount and the eligible amount. So you can see here we are using the loan amount to calculate the eligible amount for the user. So once that is complete, it returns a prediction. So the prediction, we had set it from a range of 1 up to 10. So the lower the number, the closer to 1, the user will not be approved for that loan. And if it's higher than 5, up to 10, there's a high chance that the user will be approved for that loan, according to other information that they have provided. So then again, I'll show you where the model has been deployed. We can test the model and see how it works from an API endpoint. So you can see here, I used the Fast API in deploying this model. So we can go ahead. I also added features such as registration of a user and the login of the user, just for security purposes, so that they cannot make a prediction or maybe apply for a loan without them being the actual person who had signed up. So we can go ahead with the registration. In terms of the registration, I have used 3 send this data to the API. You can do with send that the user registration has been registered successfully. You can see it's returning a 200 response as okay. This means that the user has been registered. We can then go ahead and check in the database if the user is present. So for here, I am using an SQLite SQLite language to create the database. I have 2 tables. I have the loans table and I have the users table. If we go ahead and check on the users table, we can see that a user has been created. There's the username, the email, and their password is protected by hashing. And you can see that they have taken the ID, user ID, they are active, and then they've taken the user ID as 1. So we can then go ahead and log in to the application, to the API. So when we go into the login, just a clarification, this URL that we have here is similar to the URL that a person will be encountering with once they try and log in or do any other transactions within this application. So if we go to the login part, you can see I have set the username and the password. So for this part, this is in form of JSON format. This is the body. These are the details that you're sending to the endpoint. In this part where the endpoint has already been created. So if we send the details, you can see it returns an access token. So this access token is the one that ensures that it can track the user across, and it can also ensure the security. So if someone else tries to take a loan or do anything, so these are just the features of the API. If we go to the part of predicting the loan amount that a user can be given, the user needs to have their access token with them. So this part is the part of the front end where the user will be using the access token to access any predictions or loan amount that they need. So when you go to the part of the prediction amount, let me close this. You can see here that we are using these inputs as the ones that we had trained the machine learning model with. So we can set our amounts. Let's say certain user wants a loan amount of 10,000, and maybe it has an interest amount of 1,000 shillings. So the total amount will be 11,000. The total amount paid, we can say the user paid 9,000. And then amount pending, it remains 2,000. This is where we are subtracting the total amount and the total amount paid. And the days in arrears. This is where if a person has gone over the number of days, let's say if it was given at loans for a period of 30 days, if they go over by a number of days, that's the number of days that is set here. So we can say 4, or we can leave it as 0 if it's a new user. And then at the edge, we can say 25. And then for the gender, as you see from the encoding part, we had set for the machine learning to learn from the gender, we had encoded male to 1 and female to 0. We can say this is female 0, and then we can update. So on the part of the token part, we need to take the token from the login to where the user is applying for the loan. So we have to use a query. In this part, I had pre-filled this with another token, so we have to paste our token here. And when we send our details, it should bring out a response. So when we send, so right now it is accepting the data, going through the model, and then giving out the eligibility score and the amount. So you can see we have an eligibility score of 3.66 and the predicted eligible amount of 3660. So for this user, they might not get the loan they applied for as because of the eligibility. It's a first-time user, so the eligibility score would be low unless they provide other details like the CRB listing or any other account details that they have. So we can go ahead on how this endpoint might look on the part of browser. So if we go to the browser part, before we move to the browser part, we can check if this user has actually gone through and been registered in the database, since we also need to track the user. We can see that we have the loan ID here. This is a loan ID that this person has applied for. And then we have all the other details that the user added here. And also to track if the user is applying for another loan, or if the user is defaulted, or any other issues that might come in between the user and this application. We are using the own ID. So the own ID assigns a specific loan to a specific user, where we can track their activity across the application. So on this part, I had also created a front-end part. So for this front-end part is how a user might interact with such an application. So this is the front-end part. So this is just a sample application of where the user is interacting with the API through a website. So we can go ahead and say login, since we've already registered our user from the API. We can then add the user details, since we used name Nadia, and then we can enter our password. Since I entered an incorrect password, let me check. Okay, so you see now when you enter a correct password, the user is automatically redirected to the part where they can enter their details and request for a loan. So for this part, whoever is issuing the loan will also be able to see what the output of what the user has entered, like the loan amount that they require and all the other details. So let's say if a user is requiring a loan amount of 15,000, interest amount of 2,000, the total amount will be 17,000. Total amount paid, let's say this is a perfect user and maybe they paid 16,000 and they have a pending amount of 1,000 shillings. Days in arrears, can say maybe they delayed 3 days and set the age to 30. And then on the gender, we can use 1 as a male user, 1, and then we can predict. So we can see that the eligibility score of the user is above 5. So this part is 6. So this comes from the model with the data that we had trained it. And the eligible amount, you can see that is 9,105. So this specific user has a higher chance of getting the loan rather than the user who gets an eligibility score of below 5. I think that's it from my side. Unless anyone will have a question on the Q&A side, we can then.
Okay, thank you so much, Ernest. So basically, the presentation by Tony and Ernest shows that what in real world situation happens. Like if you have been very keen, you see that there's an interaction of the software engineering part of it and the data science part of it. You have seen the side of SQL, Python for data science, Tableau for data visualization, and of course the front end and back end. Ernest has talked about the issues of the APIs. So those are some of the things that we are looking forward that you will get an opportunity to learn during the virtual internship, like now to integrate the diverse concepts of data science and related disciplines so that you are able to know how they interact with each other. So without taking so much time, I like now to take this opportunity to invite any questions with regards to the virtual internship, anything that that is not yet clear with regards to that. Any questions, you can just raise your hand. I give you an opportunity. I just want to start from Donald Omondi. Donald, you can ask your question. Okay, I see Donald, you are taking a lot of time. We can go to Atanas Juma.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you can hear me well. I'm
Yes,
Atanas
Atanas.
Juma. Okay. I thank you. We started this session well, and even though I didn't get much insight about this project, but I would like you to tell us more about where you usually operate and mostly the sponsors or the entire way you operate. Another question is that the internship period, what it entails to secure a chance or what is required. And it's good you've talked about data analysis, machine learning, and front end, back end. It's a wide variety. Yeah, those are my questions that I add whenever I rise.
Okay, thank thank you so much, Atanas. I think I didn't get clearly your first question, but on where we operate, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Our main offices are in Kenya, that is Nairobi Pioneer House, Moi Avenue, room number 308. And this virtual internship is free. It is our internal initiative that is geared towards empowering um, various people who are interested in the area of data science and AI. We have dedicated resources for this to ensure that it works internally as an organization. And in terms of eligibility, we will give priority, as mentioned, to those who have already graduated with us or are at advanced level of study, because you see what it entails. It needs some at least basic understanding of a few things and so on. Another question, Atanas, that you asked, maybe, perhaps. Sorry for that.
Yes, my question was perhaps you have how you started the organization. Are you being is it a private entity that you started as individuals of 3 to 4 people, or it's an initiative from abroad?
Okay, I think those are other questions that we basically AfriCDSA is a private entity registered, incorporated in the year 2020, but other confidential business information I don't think this is the right forum to share. But the information that I can share further is that we are an edutech company, and basically we are offering certified data science and AI courses accredited by EABAC. That's the International Association for Business Analytics Certification. But many other information, perhaps you can just walk to the office or just write an official letter so that it can be shared with you. I hope that is clear, Atanas.
Yes. The duration for internship?
The duration for internship, it will be taking 2 months per cohort. 2 months, then once that cohort is done, another one comes. It will be on a rolling basis. Okay, any other question? Let me see in the queue. Collins, please ask your question.
Hello.
Hello, Collins.
Yes. So my first question is, how is the application process? And then the second question is, are we going to do those that manage to get into the program? Are they going to do the internship at AfriCDSA, or you have partnered with various industries and organizations for us or those that will manage to work for?
Okay, thank you. So the first phase of the internship will be at AfriCDSA. Then those who will graduate from that first cohort will now again be linked with other organizations, as now the other cohorts again start at AfriCDSA. That's how it will be working, with the first phase, then the second phase. Um, then another thing, the application will be online. Basically, the basic information, of course, your personal information. Perhaps you might be interested to know if you are students at which cohort or batch. Another thing that will be interested in is the industry. I understand we are from diverse industries, and you would like us to, that is to concentrate in projects based on your industry. Maybe just to highlight, we have categories in the agricultural sector, environment and conservation, education, climate change, healthcare, mental health, emergency response, transport and logistics, energy, government, among many other industries. So I hope that is clear, Collins.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Evans, your hand is up.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. My name is Evans. I just wanted to understand because I just joined a bit late. If the internship will be virtual, maybe for example, I'm working away from Nairobi. If the internship will be virtual, and maybe, for example, now that let me not say most of us, like personally, I have not done any course with African data. Um, Yes, I've not done any course with your institute. Will I be able to benefit from that kind of internship, or maybe I have to start by the courses, one of the courses first, and then I'll be eligible for the internship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Evans. The internship will be virtual because if you most of the people here, or based on even our data, most people are working in other organizations, so it will be a virtual internship. We will be using platforms such as Slack, among other platforms, to be able to share information and communication on whether you will qualify given that you have it. I say that yes, priority will be given to those who have graduated from us, but also we appreciate diversity, and the team that will be at various categories of people. So just apply once the link will be shared via email by Monday. Yes, you missed the first part batch, will be in the next one. I hope that is clear, Evans.
Yes, thank you. I think that is clear, and thank you for your feedback.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to go to Mohammed Dere, then I go to the questions on the chat.
Okay, good morning.
Morning, Mohammed.
Okay, my question is, say the duration of this internship is 2 months. One thing that I'm not understanding is this internship more of job creation, or it is more of advanced knowledge on whatever that you have learned in the data finance?
Okay, thank you so much. So basically, this virtual internship is both advancing of your knowledge and job creation, because some of the projects you might be commercially viable, and that once you hit the you have some kind of contract agreements that you'll be signing, so that in case your project will be commercially viable project, we will assist you on how you can take it to the market, so that you benefit fully from your effort and the team, because we will be doing as a team. Like if it is finance guys, we will put you like 10-10 as to collaborate together and so on. Yeah, so what I can say, it is both, and you will we have a legal team. They'll be working with you on before even the start of the internship, all the documents. Is that okay, Mohammed?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I see your hand is up.
Yes, good morning. I think you've answered my question. I wanted to find out, once we apply, for example, and I've chosen, for example, renewable energy projects, we'd be placed with other graduates in the same internship, then we do the project. Yeah, but you've answered. But another question. So once we finish, for example, I chose renewable energy and we finish the 2 or 3 months internship, am I eligible to apply again and maybe want internship in another sector?
Yes, yes, you will be eligible to apply again. That's okay, Sandra. Hello.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, let me go to the chat. For Adna, I think your question was the same as that of Sandra. Um, then Benson, the virtual internship will be happening at what time? Basically, we understand that most majority of you are very busy elsewhere. That's why we will be a bit flexible. Um, we have dedicated, so we will be collaborating. We have various platforms that we'll be introducing to you. The Slack channel for communication, for instance. Then when it comes to building those models and so on, we have GitHub. So it can be done wherever you are in terms of collaboration. But on Fridays, we expect catch-ups between various team leaders, various cohorts with our internal team, so that we are able to review, advise accordingly, and guide. So on Fridays, Benson, to answer your question, on Fridays, we will be creating some time so that we have some kind of catch-ups with diverse teams. But anything else can be done anytime. You just know after we come up with a plan, and once you know that you are supposed to complete this task by this time, you know now how to organize your time. But on Fridays, if we agree that we will be reviewing the model performance, then we'll be able to go through once. Yeah. Then for Beryl, I can say this is part-time because of that flexibility. We want to give people flexibility so that everyone is able to reap the maximum benefit from it. Any other question, team? Anything that is not clear?
Hi, Sylvia.
Yes, hi, Donald.
This is Donald. Just a quick one. So when is the first lot starting?
Okay, the first lot we are starting to start from that is 11th of March, because the application link will be shared on Monday, 4th. So on 11th March, we are expecting the first lot to start.
Thank you.
Okay, then yes, Ruth, you can apply because most of the guys here, I'm sure they are working elsewhere. So even if you are working elsewhere, you can apply still. And also we are encouraging guys to apply based on your interest, like your industry of interest, if it is the government agencies, healthcare, green energy, renewable energy, among many other sectors. So for Meshach, what kind of internship do you offer? So basically this one is for data science and related disciplines. It is not mandatory, it is voluntary. And we have said the purpose of it, first of all, is for you to advance your knowledge. And the second objective is for you to be able to come up with end uh, products that can be commercialized for your own benefit. Any other question, team, as you are winding up? Okay, so our director is not in a position to speak due to other engagements. He was supposed to open the session. But I hope the information has been helpful. So expect an email from us on Monday, and we are looking forward for the applications and also cooperation. What only we are calling that those who are apply knowing that you are going to take this initiative seriously, so that we don't give you a chance and yet maybe you won't be so much committed and we have denied other people the opportunity. So we are looking forward to receiving applications, more applications. We have been having more than 100 people attending this session. And also we are looking forward to an exciting journey with you all during the virtual internship. And we hope that this session has been very helpful and informative. We would like to take this opportunity to wish you a nice weekend ahead. So we look forward to meeting you all. Thank you and have a nice afternoon.